Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our discussion on the captivating world of fashion. Today we delve into the intriguing history and cultural impact of the crinoline cage, a prominent fashion item worn by women in the 19th century. Our focus will be on Professor Linda Need's literature title, The Crinoline Cage. Let's begin. In her captivating lecture, Professor Linda Need delves into the intriguing world of the crinoline cage, a remarkable and influential fashion accessory that left an undeniable mark on women's bodies, experiences, and society as a whole. With meticulous research and a keen eye for detail, Professor Need illuminates the profound impact on wide, voluptuous hoop skirts on various aspects of 19th century life. The crinoline cage's exaggerated silhouette and expansive presence not only shaped the way women perceived and presented themselves, but also played a significant role in defining gender roles, reinforcing class distinctions, and redefining the very essence of femininity. Professor Need's exploration of the crinoline cage extends beyond its visual symbolic significance. She delves into the controversies that surrounded the fashion trend, shedding light on the concerns raised regarding health, mobility, and public safety. While the crinoline cage allowed women to occupy more space and assert their presence in society dominated by men, it also raised apprehensions about physical toll it exacted on wearers. The implications of restricted movement and potential hazard posed a crinoline cage were subjects of debate and security at the time, reflecting the complex relationship between fashion, society, and personal well-being. This thought-provoking lecture provides a comprehensive and nuanced overview of the multi-influence exerting by the crinoline cage in the 19th century society. Professor Need skillfully examined how this fashion trend not only altered the physical appearance of women but also transformed social dynamics and cultural norms. By intertwining historical analysis and critical insights, she brings to life an era where fashion became a powerful force, shaping and reflecting the aspirations, constraints, and contractions of rapidly changing society. Beyond her expertise and a distinguished scholar, Professor Linda Need herself is a captivating presence on stage. Renowned for her extensive research on the intersections of art, culture, and gender, she brings a wealth of knowledge and passion to her lectures. With her engaging storytelling style, Professor Need effortlessly guides her audience through the interstices of the crinoline cage phenomenon, captivating their attention and inspiring a deeper appreciation for the intricate interplay between fashion and society. To gain a deeper understanding of the crinoline cage and its impact, I've invited two individuals from different walks of life to share their thoughts. Let's meet our interviewees. Cindy, my mom, and Ken, my dad. Welcome, Cindy. As someone who's always had an interest in fashion, what are your thoughts on the crinoline cage?
Thank you for having me. Well, I find the crinoline cage absolutely fascinating. It's incredible how fashion can shape not just our appearance, but also our identity and how we interact in society. The crinoline cage was such a bold and distinctive fashion statement for women in the 19th century. It gave them a sense of grandeur and presence, allowing them to occupy physical and metaphorical space in a male-dominated world.
That's an interesting perspective. Do you think that the crinoline cage had any drawbacks or challenges associated with it?
It absolutely did. As much as I admire the crinoline cage, I can't ignore the practical concerns it raised. It must have been quite cumbersome to wear, affecting mobility and even posing safety hazards. I can't imagine women struggling to navigate through doorways or sit comfortably, as I know from wearing one at my wedding. It's a reminder that fashion can sometimes demand sacrifices for those who embrace it.
Thank you for sharing your insights, Cindy. It's clear that the crinoline cage can hold a special place in your fashion enthusiast heart. Now let's turn to Ken, our resident history buff. Ken, what are your thoughts on the crinoline cage and its historical significance?
Well, I must admit, the crinoline cage is an aspect of history that has always intrigued me. It's fascinating how something as seemingly simple as a fashion accessory can reflect the broader social and cultural dynamics of an era. The crinoline cage symbolized the changing roles of women in the 19th century as they sought to break free from traditional constraints and assert their presence.
Could you elaborate on how the crinoline cage influenced societal norms and gender roles?
Certainly. The crinoline cage challenged the notion of women as delicate and passive beings confined to the domestic sphere. Its voluminous silhouette represented a form of rebellion, allowing women to claim physical space and project a sense of power. It reshaped the way society perceived femininity and challenged traditional gender roles. However, it's important to note that this change was not without controversy and resistance.
Thank you, Ken, for sharing your historical perspective. It's evident that the crinoline cage represents a pivotal moment in the evolution of gender roles. Fascinating insights indeed. Now let's delve into some critical thinking process and explore the complexities of the crinoline cage. The crinoline cage contributed to the objectification of women by executing their curves and creating a larger, exaggerated silhouette that emphasizes their femininity. The crinoline cage intersected with the Victorian ideal of femininity and beauty standards by promoting a narrow waist, a full and rounded skirt, and a delicate, dainty appearance. Parallels can be drawn between the crinoline cage and modern fashion trends like corsets or body-shaping undergarments that aim to shape and constrain women's bodies to fit a certain beauty standards. The crinoline cage contributed to the democratization of fashion during the 19th century as it allowed women of different social classes to achieve the fashionable silhouette. However, the quality and materials used in the crinolines varied, resulting in differences in overall appearance. The crinoline cage impacted women's mobility by restricting their movements and making it difficult to navigate through the doorways or sit comfortably. It also poses risk to take physical health as it caused accidents or falls. These limitations had impacts on women's daily lives, restricting their activities and independence. Exploring the world of the crinoline cage and discussing its cultural significance has truly been enlightening. Hearing the perspectives of our interviewees and engaging in critical discussions and research has deepened our understanding of a fascinating topic. It's incredible how fashion can encapsulate so many social, political, and personal dimensions. Personally, I found it intriguing to discover how the crinoline cage both shaped and constrained women's experiences in the 19th century. It highlights the power of the dynamics and societal expectations that were intertwined with fashion choices. The controversies surrounding the crinoline cage, such as the concerns about health and mobility, reminded me of ongoing debates about what we have on fashion and its impact on individuals today. As we conclude our discussion, I encourage all of you to explore the intersection of fashion, culture, and society. Fashion is merely a subject of pursuit, but a reflection of our history, values, and aspirations. By critically engaging with fashion, we can understand ourselves and the world around us better. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed.